Hey everyone, this is Matt Kufo again here at Jones Technical Institute. We're going to be doing a brief overview inspection on a international Transstar. So what we're going to be covering real quick, we're going to be covering the wheels and hubs, the brakes, the air system, the steering, suspension. So it's a very brief but a lot of information to be put out on the inspection. Now this is something that normally it's going to take a while to do. We're going to go through it real quick and fast, but when push comes to shove, you should always refer back to all the service manuals and inspection criteria, especially when you're doing DOT inspections or anything else like that. All right, let's get started on this. All right, so here we are along the drive tires. So some of the things you need to look at, your lug nuts, making sure they're all tight. Now, lug nuts normally torque to about 45 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so stuff you want to look for is making sure that they're not, you don't see any discoloration, you don't see any cracks in them or any other way. All right, tires, making sure that the pressure is between roughly 90 and 110. 110 is the max on the pressure of the tires, 90 you'll fail DOT. Normally the pressure is set at about 100 psi. Other things you want to look for is on the tread. You have the wear on the side. If the tread is too shallow, you just failed. You also want to look for any bald spots, any wear marks whatsoever. If one side's worn more than the other, then you possibly have a balancing issue. All right, on the bead here, on the rim, do a complete look around on it. So looking on there, because if you have the crack or a big major dent, you're not going to be able to actually get the bead when it comes time for pressure. So a couple things you want on the drive tires themselves. So you're still looking for the same thing, looking for any dry rotting around the tires themselves. One of the big things is here. So you have on the outer tire and the inner tire 90 degrees out. So if they're not, you're not going to be able to actually set them up right. They're not going to be lined up correctly. All right, but still the same thing on the lug nuts, making sure they're tight. The tread depth, the wear on them, making sure all this is good. All right, on everything. Like this one, you have some dry rotting here, so you're gonna start getting, and see right here the real bad wear marks here. So yeah, this one's getting worn really bad on this side. All right, still 90 degrees out on the valve stems. Those are big things. Paint chipping, okay, but you don't want to have serious rust issues. That's when you're going to have some possible hub issues. All right. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about on the air system. All right. So with these, there's your primary tank. All right. So you got your valve stem here to air. There, you can tell that normally because it only has one spot on it. All right. And actually, no, correction. This is your primary tank here. So you got air coming there. This is your secondary tank, which is the forward one. Checking for moisture. Now, normally, there'd be another valve here. Said there's a bolt in there. That is your supply tank. Your supply tank, you're gonna get a little bit of moisture out of. You should not see just this deluge of water coming out. If you do, then possibly your air dryer is failing and that needs to be replaced also. All right, you also want to check your lines, make sure there's no rust, no corrosion in them, no separation. All right, the tanks themselves, you're looking for dents, cracks, serious rust. Like here you got some rust forming on it. That could potentially lead to another possible leak later on. All right, you're gonna work your way through the whole system. You're also, yep, that's all good. You check your glad hands up there. Big thing with the glad hands is nothing more than, are they deformed? Are the colors right, red and green? All right, if they are, you're gonna have to possibly place the glad hands. The glad hands is looking to send air back to the trailer, all right? So other stuff to look for is your pads, is your suspension drive. All right, is this deflated and deformed? Is it cracking? All right, you have another one up here for the drive. All right, all this stuff has major inspection, but you don't want it to get to the point that, you know, you're sitting on it and you've got this hard ride, all right? So the whole time you're under here, this is a really good time to take a look for any leaks, all right? From your transmission, from your engine. I know this is normally not part of it, but this is stuff that you're already here. It's a good time to take a look for any major leaks, because there may be an oil leak that the driver doesn't know about, but at this point you can actually take a look and see, all right? Stuff that you normally probably won't see when it's just driving along, because you have to check, or you have to climb underneath. Well, now if it's up in the air, you've got it made. All right, so you're also continuing looking along any drive lines for your air dryer relief, stuff like that. All right, this is all stuff to look for. All right, so on here, show you guys, this does not have S-cam brakes. This has disc brakes, so those are the foundation on them. You cannot do the measurements on those versus like on an S-cam. An S-cam, you'll actually do more of, when you do the inspection, you're taking the rod itself in the back, so like say take the end of the flashlight, and what you'll do is you'll measure the length of the slack adjuster. All right, then you'll have somebody hit the brakes, the slack adjuster's gonna go back, then you're gonna measure that. There's your measurement there. You're gonna measure the difference between that one. Now, on that type of thing, you're looking at no more than a 1/4 inch on like axle. So drive axles and steering axles. So you cannot do the 1/4 inch all the way around. It's on like axles. That's the big thing, is like axles, all right? Some other stuff to take a look at here. On your calipers, easy way to remember, making sure, correction, the rotors here. Remember, easy way, rotors, they rotate. You're gonna look for nicks, dings, any type of serious scratches, all right? Now, another quick thing with brakes, brake pads themselves, there's oil on them, it's a failure. You cannot clean them, all right? You cannot sit there and take some brake clean and clean those. It's not allowed, all right? So, now, as we're under here, you can look, here's the cross member here. All right, you're gonna look at the cross member. All right, making sure we have no movement, no lateral movement whatsoever, okay? Check the grease points, all right? So with the greasing, the big thing with greasing is this. Saw the grease, wipe the old nasty grease off. All right, you don't need grease dangling down. You don't need grease hanging out, because if you start having the grease like that, especially if you're in the, like in the mines, they'll actually turn to damn near cement, all right? So you cannot have that. Wipe it clean, and not to mention, it starts getting hot out, that's all gonna start dribbling down, and yeah, that's all gonna fail. It's not gonna be good for you or the customer. All right, so we're in here, we're looking at the kingpin. This is your kingpin, all right? Now you see how all this grease and everything that's all spewed out? That needs to go away. That needs to be wiped off and wiped clean. You don't need all that excess grease around. You got grease fittings at the top, grease fittings at the bottom. Here for the cross members. Now the cross member does not get grease, but all grease points around. Right there, the bolt. Here's the thing. Make sure those are tight, okay? On those, you do not want to, see how the cotter pin's in? If the cotter pin's missing, cotter pin's what holding this down, okay? They'll back off. You do not want them backed off. You don't want anything like that done. All right. Come up. You're looking for grease. You're looking for any excess. And you can see here, it's like here, that's missing. All right. That one can easily be backed off because the cotter pin is not holding it in place. Come up here to the drivetrain. When you're inspecting it, all right, here. Does anything move? No. That means that it's actually properly, it's tight. You don't have any loose points or anything like that. If you have any questions, drop me a line and I'll see if I can get them answered for you.